Hey everyone, so this time around, as you probably know because you clicked on this video, this time around I'm ranking M Night Shyamalan's films from worst to best. This is a continuation of my directors lists. I've been doing a lot of directors, David Lynch, David Fincher, Christopher Nolan, where I've been ranking all their movies, theatrical I should say, from worst to best. This time M Night Shyamalan is up. Now, M Night Shyamalan has officially done 13 movies. However, I'm only ranking 11 of his movies. The reason why I'm only ranking 11 of them is because his first two movies before his breakout hit, The Sixth Sense, those two movies are like near impossible to find, other than paying for it. And the thing is, I'm not risking it, so I'm just not seeing those two. So just keep that in mind. I'm ranking his other 11 movies. And honestly, his first two movies, you probably haven't seen unless you're a hardcore fan of him. So normally I wouldn't do a video without doing that, but just giving you some exposition so that you know why I'm not like, oh, Wide Awake, it's in this place. It's like, oh, because his first two movies I'm not ranking. So enough of that exposition, 11 being his worst, number 1 being his best. Let's get started with number 11. So number 11, you probably guessed it already, that's The Last Airbender. I finally saw this movie. It's in my Letterboxd review, I said it's simply like this. It's so bad, but it's in like a boring kind of way. Like the acting's terrible, CGI is really bad, pacing is as well. The ending made me literally say, what? Because it like literally was setting up a sequel. It really is a bad movie. It lives up to the reputation. I'm not going to go into a rant because you've heard it all. Number 10 is Lady in the Water. Now, Lady in the Water is a movie that has fine acting. The acting is one of the few actual good things about the movie. However, everything else really doesn't work. It's supposed to be like a modern fairy tale, and maybe I just prefer Pan's Labyrinth where it's actually done really well. But Lady in the Water just felt like it was exposition heavy to the point of it didn't feel natural. Also, it has one of the most outrageous underwater scenes. There's literally someone underwater for like 3-4 minutes, and it's like, really? Like, are you yourself like part of the Lady in the Water? Like, it's just really bad. A lot of plot holes too. I usually don't say that in reviews, but a lot of plot holes. Number 9 is a movie that also is really bad, but it's done in a so bad it's good kind of way. That's The Happening. I quite enjoyed The Happening. The Happening is a really fun movie if you know going into it that it's so bad it's good. The dialogue, the acting, the pacing, everything is just so off that you just can't help but gleefully enjoy it if you know what you're getting yourself into. That's why it's higher up than Lady in the Water and The Last Airbender for me personally. Number 8, man, oh man. Number 8, honestly, I was going to put as number 9, but I just figured that the production design's a little bit better, and that's After Earth. After Earth is another dull slodge of a movie from M Night Shyamalan, and it stinks because it has Jaden Smith and Will Smith. And Will Smith I usually really like, but Will Smith was kind of hampered off to the side to kind of try and be like, hey, Jaden Smith can act, and it was like, no, he really can in this movie. And not only that, just the story itself is really dull. The way they pace the movie is really excruciatingly boring, especially considering that it's such a short movie. It's kind of like, oh, wow. So, would not recommend. Number 7, this is the movie that was said to bring M Night Shyamalan back onto the map. I believe it was 2015. That's The Visit. I really didn't like The Visit. I found there to be a lot of conveniences. Not only that, just the twists towards the end really didn't make any sense when you think about it. I just found it very hard to believe. I know some people that like the twist. I really didn't dig it. And again, I'm not going to spoil it, but I wasn't a fan of this movie. I thought it was very silly in its approach to everything. Thankfully, it's short, though, and that's one of the things about M Night Shyamalan's movies where it's like, even if you don't like his movies, they're short, so they're easy to get through, relatively speaking, unless they're badly paced, which, as you notice, a lot of these movies are so far. But now we're getting into the movies that I actually do like. 6 on. Now, number 6 is, in my opinion, the actual return to form of M Night Shyamalan. That was Split. That's right, everyone. I'm not going to spoil what movie it connects to in the M Night Shyamalan universe, but my goodness, Split was a very entertaining movie. It's by no means perfect, but there is a lot of enjoyment to be had in this movie. First of all, James McAvoy's performance in itself is electrifying, easily the best part about the movie. The filmmaking is really good. The very last scene in the movie is chilling. I loved it. It's a movie that, as a film buff, if you like when a director gets back on track, this is the kind of movie to watch because Split really does kind of show M Night Shyamalan back in form. Number 5 is a movie I actually haven't seen. I started watching all of M Night Shyamalan's movies when I was quite young, and Signs was one of the first M Night Shyamalan movies I saw. And Signs is, I think, good. It's a good number 5 choice because I think it's a movie that is very suspenseful in light of, like, you know, Alfred Hitchcock's films. The last 5-10 minutes, I would say, like, thematically it makes sense, but at the same time, when you think about it with why the aliens came to Earth, it's like, it just doesn't make 100% sense. I don't know. It was kind of like a Wizard of Oz-esque scene. But, no, I think it's still a good movie. Like, I think Signs is a movie I do want to rewatch, but I definitely liked it. I do remember that much, and Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson were great in the movie. Number 4 is a movie that I actually revisited, not fully. I'll be honest, I didn't fully rewatch it. It's still, I'd say about final act I have left of this movie, like rewatching it. But I liked the first 2/3 from what I saw again. And I'm not saying I've only seen 2/3 of the movie in period. I've seen the full movie, just upon rewatching, I've only saw the first 2/3, and that's The Village. The Village really impressed me the second time around. I was kind of like, wow, like, why was this movie so hated when it first came out? And then you look back and you realize that it was advertised as like a psychological horror movie, when in fact, it's a romance. And I think if you look at it that way, it's a really effective movie. Also, the acting is on point. The twist, I'm not going to say it's one of his better twists, but it's definitely a twist where it's like, oh, okay, interesting. I enjoyed it, though. I do have to say, it is an enjoyable movie, I think. Number 3 is a movie that already, it's his latest movie, but already it's very divisive. And I personally am in the pack where I'm like, I liked it. I think it was a good movie. I saw it twice in theaters. And that was Glass. I think Glass was a good third part in his official trilogy. Worked really well. I liked some of the twists and turns where it led to in the final act. Again, the acting's on point. The directing is really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I would recommend it highly if you haven't seen it already. And now we get to the top 2. Now, the top 2, I'll be honest, it could go either way. But I figured, you know what, I know a lot of people have this in the same order, but why not? I'll do the same order because for now, I'm kind of like, yeah, my number 1 slot I've seen more than my number 2. And my number 2 is a movie that I actually, the first time I saw it, I wasn't the biggest fan of. I'll be honest, when I was watching, like, I watched this movie right along the same time as I watched The Village, Signs, Lady in the Water, because, again, this video, I've been trying to watch all his movies for the longest time, but The Happening and Last Airbender I kept on pushing off. I finally saw those 2 movies, so, but in my early teenage years, I did watch all of it, like most of his movies. And his number 2 choice, Unbreakable, I wasn't the biggest fan of, but the second time, my goodness, when I was like getting prepared for Glass, it's good. It's really good, actually. Definitely a movie that I think is very rewarding the second time. Really think the ending's effective, and I'm glad I gave it a second chance because it's actually very well done. Like, I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. And my number 1 choice, the movie that for the longest time I thought was his actual first movie, and it turns out it wasn't, The Sixth Sense. This is the movie that brought him on the map. It's the one that everyone looked at and said, hey, this guy knows how to do twists. And then after that, everyone was expecting twists in his movie, so it kind of ruined that effect. But The Sixth Sense, everyone knows the twist pretty much. Not going to spoil it, but still very effective. And I think the best way of describing this movie, and I said in my review, which I did recently, the movie is a really good psychological drama. The icing on the cake is the fact that there's a twist at the very end. But the thing is, you could cut out the final 10 minutes, and the movie would still be really, really good. The 10 minutes are just a little bit of added-on frosting that really make the film really, really spark. I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. And again, that and Unbreakable, I was going back and forth. I was like, I don't know which to go with as my number 1, but I decided with The Sixth Sense for now. Who knows, it might change tomorrow, but for now, Sixth Sense is my number 1. So, guys, that's my M Night Shyamalan films ranked worst to best. Where do you rank his movies? And what other directors do you think I should do? I have a lot on my list right now. I'm going to try to get to all the other directors, but it's exhausting, but also rewarding at the same time. I do like doing this, but again, let me know your ranking of M Night Shyamalan's movies in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.